Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here live with me, and thank you for the ones that will watch this later. I'm having some technical issues, and of course, we have just entered Mercury in retrograde, which I don't always blame for things like this. Um, so it's showing that I have more participants than what are saying hello to me. And if you are here, just say hello on the chat, which you will find on the bottom of the Zoom screen. Yeah, thank you. And yes, we will start. So once again, welcome. Delighted to be sharing this lecture chat with you on true sentience collaboration through the trees, through the interconnectedness that we are, and through the field of sentient trees. So we are recording, and I'm still not showing up as the speaker. No, it's just showing Marianne. Let me see if when I share screen, if things get better. Okay. Yes, even when you don't have the speaker on, I'm just answering to Lynn. Even when you don't have a speaker on, you should be able to see that they are present. Okay, so if for any reason I left you in the waiting room, huge apologies. I have been trying to rectify the situation. Yeah, if any of you have any other ideas. Okay, I'm gonna share screen and see if I show up as the speaker now. Yes. Okay, I'm not still not the speaker, but at least is my screen showing. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay. Presentation open. Here we are, a beautiful tree. Now, this is a bit of a huge lecture, not lecture, slideshow, so I might just flow through. Um, yeah, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out the speaker situation. Okay, this will do. Okay, so just for background, is some of you, maybe not the ones of you present, I know some people have registered and they are going to get the recorded aspect of that. Some of you have joined me for the 108 days sentient trees, which was a project that I guided or held in 2022. Actually, I thought it was 2023, but I double checked and it was I started it in September 22 for 108 days. And that was a magnificent way of finding that we are in communication with trees. And the way we did it was all of us synchronized at the same time, wherever we were in the world, at a precise time, which happened to be the 4 p.m. UTC, which is now. And we sat with a tree of our choice for 3 minutes a day. And that was an evolution from other projects that I had held in the field of consciousness, or yeah, being present to the field and seeing, perceiving, and also exploring the interconnectedness of a group and how a group could synchronize in an agreement to be present to a tree at the same time. For oh, here comes one more person. For the duration of those 108 days, and how it was that Um, could you mute yourself, both Marianne and Hannah, just in case to see if that makes a difference? Obviously, for the recording sound and also for the purpose of the speaker situation for the video. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining, Hannah. Okay, so 108 days listening to trees, a big group of us from all over the world. And then we came together on a Sunday to share our experiences. And of course, we all have experiences with trees. We all have some kind of awareness, some kind of connection, maybe some very deep connection since childhood. Maybe a tree comes to you in a dream. Maybe a tree comes to you at a difficult time, at traumatic moment in your life. Maybe a tree appears when you least expect and you find yourself having a relationship with her. So, whenever that happens in your life, take notice. And if you already are in a friendship with a tree, then advance with it because there is so much more. There's so much more to the sentient field of trees, which I hope to, um, yeah, express here in this time together. So, what we learned in those 108 days changed my life, changed, I think, a lot of people's lives. It was very much a time where we had already done some work together, so we became quite used to each other's field and then how to connect to the tree, but also to connect to each other. So, I don't know if that was part of the magic, but certainly being with a tree for 108 days was powerful in that we received cosmology, we received future insights, we received understanding, we received healing, we received aspects of magic in daily life that we might not necessarily have perceived if we hadn't decided or chosen to be conscious and to be present. And so that was one of the most important things is presence with whichever sentient field that you choose is powerful. And then presence with a tree, it's powerful and magic because it holds consciousness of all. So not only a tree, when you're connecting to a tree, you're not only connecting to that one tree, you're connecting to all the trees, but you're connecting to everything. You're connecting to the stars. And I have many stories to tell. You're connected to inner earth. You're connected to the waters. You're connected to sentient intelligence of animals and of whales in the depths of the ocean. And we came to laugh at it sometimes and call it the telephone, whenever we were going into presence with a tree, because it truly was the ability to be in conscious communication with timelines and in many ways with timelines that had already in timeline reality that we exist in this moment, which feels linear. We were able to access memory that brought healing. So when I say that a tree is, how do I move this here? If I tell you that a tree is outside time, it truly is. It has the template for the future. It has the template for us to understand one of the very important words, which I used a lot in all of the posts I've been sharing. And thank you for resonating with it, is collaboration. And if we ever were at a time where we could truly be in collaboration and truly understand what communication with sentient fields and other life forms would feel like is this moment. I know a lot is out there in terms of so-called disclosure. And whatever it means to everybody, and whatever it is that humans are seeking, in terms of releasing of information, we are able to tap into that information right now without needing to wait for news, to wait for a movie, to wait for some kind of files that are, um, you know, yeah, left with the world in some way, broadcasted or otherwise. So, as I wrote here about perception, it is through time space. So, what is time space? Time space could be many things. I am relating this word to the mesh of reality. So within all of our reality, we exist within that, if you like, in that creation or in that bubble or in that chosen moment that we choose to focus on. And that focus point may be an entire lifetime where we see or perceive ourselves as that one individual, as that one human who is playing out an archetype or an expression of the soul, or is set to a cultural umbrella, to a philosophy, to a way of being, a belief system. And then beyond that, this is what I'm speaking of, time space is the stuff, is the matter that is outside temporal reality. So when we are looking at creating new Earth, and I know there is a lot of people talking about new Earth and new ways of being fully conscious, and there is a lot of so-called artificial intelligence. And just as a side note, I say this often, there is no thing as artificial intelligence. Intelligence is not artificial. The collection of information that we can tune in, tap in, pay for in terms of AI, whichever one that we are choosing to investigate or be curious about, it's not artificial. It is information that has been given or fed or stored. And the capabilities of this is to collect information and then to filter it to whatever it is that you're choosing to do with AI. So if I'm being clear, when I'm looking at working with AI and I'm asking about maybe some research about sentient fields of trees, which is exactly what I did, then I get very quickly some information collected from the intelligence that has been provided to that particular AI. And so the difference here and the the heartfelt desire for me to be doing this is that if we are aware that all intelligence is not artificial, because it's a collection of information that has been stored in I don't even know if it's called a device anymore. It's probably not. It's a master field, right? Then that master field exists in creation. So nothing, no intelligence is truly artificial, and no information is truly artificial because it's coming in. It's pulses of electrical current that then gets translated and received by either the laptop or the smartphone or whatever the device that you choose to use. And the same way, we as human beings existing in this physical body are also able to collect information and to siphon it or to make it relevant to what it is that is our reality in that moment. So when I say to create a new reality, we must see the reality because there is there is the potential in time space and beyond time space to perceive it, to sense it, and to also receive it. And we're not receiving it with our ears, but sometimes we are sentient in a way that we receive information as literally some kind of word or some kind of message that just feels very much as a human voice. Sometimes some people have that ability. But on the totality of humanity, we have this capability of perceiving, of being sentient, and to see reality beyond time space. That means not set to one particular point in time. In the mesh of reality, if you imagine a mesh of reality that is the cosmos, and within that, all realities, all potential, all information and all intelligence exists. And then you're able to kind of zoom, 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 zoom. And before you know, you're able to pinpoint what it is that it's important to you for this incarnation, for this lifetime, for you being human on planet Earth, and for you to be in your own evolutionary spiral phase and also absorbing intelligence so that it can assist your own potential, your own purpose, your own desire to fulfill um, your time on Earth. So we are not arriving on planet Earth as kind of tourists. We do truly belong to this planet for the time that we have chosen to be here. And to be here at a time as now, I'm not going to go into major astrology, but if you are curious about it, we are entering a time, the last, I want to say, since 2014, 2015, we've been on this massive evolutionary cycle, and then there was 2020, and then there was 2022, and that's when we were communicating with the sentient field of trees. And then before we know, we're here, 2026. This year has been massive in terms of very unusual and not in our lifetime or once in a lifetime events for humanity. And we're about to enter a new potential of the sky creating a pattern, because all of the sky is always in motion, and all of the sky is always creating new geometry. And the geometry that is creating right now is all about a new reality, a new civilization being sprung from the old. So there is a new seed that is landing on the old world, and the old world, whichever way we like it, is going to evolve, and whichever way we wish that things would be one way, we need to understand that evolution is for everyone, and the motion is in motion constantly, and that motion guides us to the future, and the future is going to be very different to what we've known, to what our ancestors known. And we are at a point where we are far more aware than we've ever been before. The alignment this month is with outer planets. So we have Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune all joining at 4 degrees. And there will be Jupiter joining at 4 degrees as well. So that creates what some astrologers are calling a basket. There is a name of an astrologer that named it a basket. And basically, it's a basket of potential that is holding something so completely new, and it's a gift for humanity. Is guided by trines and sextiles, which means very positive and very supportive of literally human evolution. And it's holding that area of Aries, which is new beginning. And within the Aries part of the sky, there is Neptune and Saturn. And for the ones of you that work with me and have heard me speak before, I have brought so much about the geometry of the new reality and how Saturn is the architect and Neptune is the divine dream and it's is the deepest divine self and how we can access or return to our divine imprint, to our divine self, to our divine harmonic blueprint at this time to create new realities from that point. So, not from the dream of our ancestors, not from the dream of the cultural society that we inhabit, not from the point of view of the government, not from the point of view even of religious dogma. There is going to be a massive evolution in all that we've known. And for that reason, is I feel the trees are very alive and are speaking at this time to remind us all that we are sitting at a turning point. We've already crossed the threshold, and now we have choices to make. And yes, we can go down the road of being a follower, and that is okay if leadership is not in your being. But you are always a leader of your own reality. You're always the master of your own creation. And so please, please, please make sure that you are creating from the deepest aspect of who you truly are as a being. And I hope that, a visit with a tree will assist you. And not only trees, but for this purpose, I am speaking about the tree. So you've been looking at the slide, which speaks about trees being connected throughout time. And as I was saying before, we are multidimensional beings and we are sitting in a pinpoint space. If there was a massive not grass, graph, we have pinpointed this particular time, 2026, 30th of June. We are here together having a moment with the information that the trees are bringing through, but primarily we have all information. I'm not giving you anything new. It's just a moment in time that we can focus on our reality of being fully sentient and that we are in multidimensionality and we are in co-creation. So, yes, this is also true that trees live considerably, if they're allowed, longer than humans. And so they exist in multidimensional states, not only because they live outside the, the frame that we might see as a lifetime, which is maybe, let's say, 100 years. A lot of trees live so much longer, and so they have ability to recall, or we have the ability to recall through them the many, many different centuries and even millennia. Some of the clonal trees, if you Google what clonal trees mean, they exist as a one, and although they keep dying and rebirthing and creating new from the old, they hold that one memory since the beginning of time, which is crazy to behold, but yet is not separate from us. Yes, we have a temporal time in this reality, but we are not temporal beings. And as sentient human or more than human, as you will say in a minute, we have the ability of all of those potentials within us. So when I'm speaking of communication intelligence, as I was saying before, is the ability to collate or collect and then transduce that into what is important to us. And that communication intelligence is what the trees are very much showing us. In fact, that was exactly what they told us at the very beginning of that project, that they would teach us the communication network. And at the time we thought, oh, yes, yes, the intelligence of trees, the mycelium, and yes, there is a lot of science and a lot of beautiful people out there. sharing about the mycelium system. But even the mycelium system is a system in service to the whole, which is the forest. And it is the forest that is accessing and sending out the information through the mycelium. So we are not only a system of humans in collaboration with other humans, but we are also ourselves the transceivers. We have ability to receive and transfer intelligence as information. So we are capable of information transference. And of course, one of the ways that we do it is like what I'm doing here now, right? I am taking this time to share with you and to be present to what this information is, and for the best of my ability to translate this, that it's meaningful to your reality. So it is through information transfer that we create communication. Otherwise, it's just receiving and filling up. A bit like I feel what they do to children in school. They just fill them up and then it's like, ah. So communication is when it's flowing, and remember the universe is a constant. And for it to be a constant, it's always in flow. And so communication, true communication is always in flow. And to be in the state of collaboration, we need to really just tune in. It's really as simple as tuning in. So let's talk about that. So here I spoke about the reasons why communication is important and why we want to collaborate with sentient fields. One of them is so that we are not confused. One of them is so that if we are sitting in a moment in time where all sorts of things out there, the news, the broadcast of the masses is saying one thing and it's not feeling good within ourselves, we have the ability to go back to truth through the truth of our being and then receive intelligence, not only through a sentient field of trees, but the beauty about trees is that they're everywhere and all of us can access a tree. Even if you can't physically go to a forest, you can just tune in and communicate with that one tree that was meaningful to you. Ideally, it's a tree that you have made some kind of exchange with, a tree that maybe was meaningful to you. And if there isn't such a tree in your life, then I truly recommend to go outside and find a tree. And find a tree that is nearby, either near where you walk by to get your coffee in the morning to go to the office, or is a tree in your garden, ideally. And if you don't have a tree in your garden, you must have a tree nearby on the road, in the park. Yeah, make sure that that is a reality for you. So, in terms of adaptation, regeneration, future sight, and new civilization, skillshare, there is a lot here. And I basically want to bring us back to knowing we are multidimensional. If we are not aware that we are multidimensional, then start taking away all of the barriers and blocks that make you feel unable. And by that, barriers and blocks, I mean everything that isn't true. Everything that isn't true in your true being is something that is just a little bit kind of in the way, a bit like you want to take a really good picture, but there is kind of a little bit of dust, a little microparticle in the lens. It's just that, nothing awful, nothing to feel, oh my goodness, I'm going to take 20 years letting that go. No, the only way to do that is to return to your own self and to return to your own truth. And then everything that isn't just vanishes. And I can talk about that forever. But for now, I'm going back to the trees. So our true nature is collaborative. Why is that? Because a lot of our lives, I feel, and myself, I am an introvert, I am a writer, I love my own space. I love sharing and teaching, but on the whole, I live alone, I live with my animals, and it's very easy to just not see myself in collaboration. Yet there is always ways for us to collaborate. So be aware of that. It doesn't mean that you have to sell up everything and go live in a community. It doesn't mean that you have to give some extra time to some venture nearby. Although if you feel inspired, that is a really good way to be in collaboration. But beyond that, is us being in interconnectedness. And to be in interconnectedness means letting go of, again, the untruths, letting go of the unrealities of the way we hold to stories that aren't real. For some reason, we as humans do that. We tell ourselves fibs, we tell ourselves stories that aren't true. And it's time to just allow ourselves to go, hey, I love my life and I love this moment in time. And instead of focusing on something that isn't quite the truth, I'm going to focus, and it may feel really truthful to you. And I understand that, terrible things occur in our life experience, and I honor that in your life if that is the case. But know that all the chaos in our life is um, imperfect harmony. As crazy as that sound, all the chaos is part of the harmony. So focus on the harmony and change your mind. We must change our mind on the idea that we go to nature. So we go to nature, we love nature, we need nature, but in truth, we are nature. And so that's another, one of those untruths that we have told ourselves. We are actually not separate from all of the elemental wisdom and all of the elemental functioning and spiraling and evolution that exists all around us. And that is one of the major untruths that keeps us from being in the perfect motion of the universe and knowing it and knowing that we are part of this spiral dance that exists in all things. So yes, more on that. Sky and earth are in constant motion and we are part of the constant. This is why I say that anything that feels like a blockage or a template that was useful in the past is no longer the current upgrade. So, you know, find that newness within yourself and use it and be in that. Experience yourself as that. So I took a moment to write this because I came across the fact that hum, H-U-M, in the ancient language of Sanskrit of ancient India, means in a fire. It means I am. It means the presence of the divine self. And the word human contains that. Just, as a side note, in our own language, the what do you call it? What we identify as first and foremost is human, and grateful for that. But within ourselves exists this deep inner fire, which is connected to the truth of our being. And that is not separate to the trees because they are in the constant of the truth of all of the beingness. So to complete this, An, so Hume An, it's from, again, the ancient language in the Vedas, comes from anatta or anatman, which means transcending the individual identity to realize you are part of a larger universal whole. So if I haven't said enough about the untruths and the stories that are not real that we tell ourselves, we exist in totality and we exist in interconnectedness, even if we feel lonely. It's a paradox because the human has the capability to love and to love deeply, and to miss something that is feeling is out of, separated from. Yet on the scale of the mesh of the universe, we cannot, even if we try to. It's like the spider web, holding, if you ever seen an insect fighting for his life on that mesh, we exist in that mesh, and we are contained and supported. And if we remember that we can enter coherence with the universe through the sentient field of trees, then we are able to co-create in this evolutionary phase. So this is a bit more on the constant of the universe. By the way, this is an image of a river in Turkey, is the source of the river Tigris. And for those of you that know about my work with the primordial waters exist outside time space. They hold the same as the trees. The memory, not even memory doesn't sound right, because they're like templates or codes or kind of, yeah, I don't have a word for it, but it feels like they're geometries that are there already. And then when we are ready, we align our geometry to the universal geometry for a new reality that we are co-creating into being. So it's not separate. We don't buy a ticket and get there by, I don't know, by sitting meditating for 20 hours a day, but we exist within that. So there is a gentleman called David Abram, and I will leave his details at the end of this lecture. I am gonna move faster now. He speaks about becoming more than human. And by that, he means inclusive, equal, and not separate. And all of the time that we feel we are in collaboration with sentient fields. And why would we be in collaboration with sentient fields? It is because they hold the perfect geometry of life. They hold the perfect geometry of how to enter life force of the universe. They have the perfect geometry that we align to through through frequency match. If we're having an off day, we are very often feeling ugh. And by just being quiet, taking a moment, yes, with a tree, then we are able to equalize, to harmonize our own frequency. And by that, our system, our physical body is also what is aligning. So all of our biological systems, so your liver, your heart, your stomach, your digestive system, it's all able to align. And when you align all of your systems with all of the systems of the universe, can you imagine? Can you even begin to imagine how we can be in full, true, sentient collaboration? This is the stuff that I feel we have read in books. This is the stuff of alchemy that was shown, in hidden papers as geometrical, um, arithmetic, geometry stuff that made little sense. But when I look back at how we can connect through the trees, then that makes sense to me, and I hope it makes sense to you. And one of the things that I wrote here is the liminal space. And I know that some of you know very well about the liminal space. In this case, I'm speaking about a merger of me identifying myself as human, going to nature, and now me being in nature and meeting the world from the outside in. So I am within that experience, which is different. So this is what I call no, local perception. So it's not the perception that, oh, I exist in this room and I'm sitting in this chair and I've got my air conditioning on because it's hot in Greece today. But within all that, I am able to meet with other life forms, and by that, also star systems and star beings, star allies, and in Earth allies through my non-local perception. And I can do that without having to enter the field of a star, although I can. You can, but you can do that very easily through a tree. The extrasensory perception that I speak of here is beyond the five senses. This is another non-real story that we may believe. We are so much more than five senses. Like we are so much more than I can't remember how many states in brainwaves or how many emotions that are positive. It's like, or even the yeah, I could go on, but be aware that in evolution, you are so much more than that. So begin to be curious and to play with that. I wanted to bring this information because this is to me the most amazing part, because we have heard that the trees have the ability to sense, perceive, and be in precognition of the future. And that if we wanted to, we could then focus, and we did this in groups, to a benefic future or to a benevolent potential in the future. And that way, it gave us insights on how we could get there. What are the steps that are available to us in this time now, in this particular moment in time, in this July 2026, to be fully present or in present uh, and in pre-sentience. So this is Monica Galliano and other scientists. These were scientists. Monica Galliano is a bio ecologist, I think she calls herself, PhD graduate. So this is what happens. This is the Dolomites in northern Italy, and they were. I would have loved to share the video with you, which is 5 minutes long, but I don't think we'll have time. So if you're interested, I'll send you the 5 minute video where she's sharing the event. And so they were up on this mountain in these trees, and they became aware through they were researching, and they had already um, wired up some of the trees, some old trees, some tree stumps, and some younger trees, some in the shadow, some in the sun, and they were I don't know, taking notes of things. And so they had a long note of what was being recorded, and then they realized that something was happening, and this is the trees were synchronizing their bioelectrical fields. That means the output of electrical current. So it wasn't going through the mycelium, it wasn't going through the roots. It was going through the toroidal field of the tree that they had already wired up. And they realized that 14 hours before the eclipse, they were becoming prepared of the eclipse, and they were sending signals to each other to align as one body. So they became one tree. And then the eclipse happened. But if you think about it, 14 hours before, they weren't even able to perceive the sunlight at that time. Sorry, my cats was screaming at me. So when we have science to tell us that, trees are able of presentience, and they're able to come into agreement, and they're able to say, yes, yes, on some level, let's collaborate and let's synchronize our energetic field. And I know that humans do that. I know the football is occurring right now. Um, and when something like that, or an event, or something that moves you deeply, maybe even a movie, you are um, entering a coherence in the field with all the others who are in agreement. And this was very much part of the work that I've been doing since 2019 now with groups, that if we are in agreement and we enter the field with one purpose, which is for the common, yeah, for the common goodness, we are able to create literally the miracle field. And yeah, many things, many magical things are possible when we let go of the non-truths, when we let go of what, you know, slightly blocks the vision. It's so simple. It's so simple. So frequency matching, I think I already spoke about, which is returning to true state and returning to the harmonic blueprint, the blueprint of your being. You could say it in any way you like. This is how I call it, the harmonic blueprint. And a lot of the time, I'm saying over and over that your harmonic blueprint will be your guide in the new world. Because when you know, truly know the truth of your being, when you let go of identifications and separation, and by separation, you guys, it can be so subtle. It can be so subtle. It can be as subtle as, I have a situation with my neighbor and I'm in Greece and I'm not loving the experience and I can feel myself, oh, and then I tell myself, well, be careful because this is a potential for you to return to interconnectedness, not necessarily to connect with with the disharmony, but to connect to my own harmony. So our subtle ability to return, or rather our powerful ability to return is subtle because we can also be in discomfort or disharmony very quickly because we exist in this density. So just return, just pick up yourself and remember that you are able to enter your own higher state of consciousness. So as I wrote here, how do we do that? How do we do that? We can with being in collaboration with life force. If you have a pet, you know how it feels to just, take a moment and sit with that pet. If you have the ability to go to a forest, then magnificent things will occur to you in that realization as you become present with the sentient field. So, to enter your own state of being that is your true self, that is your all totality self, it's a frequency, but it's also a way of being. It's not a destination, so we don't need to go to the forest to return ourselves to that state, but to be aware that we're out of that state. Because, as I said, it's very easily done. It's also very easily done to return if we are in our totality, we have ability to collaborate. And the sentient fields, as I keep saying, are in service. They are in service to evolution. So all systems, all life forms are in service to evolution. It is only humans that for some reason think themselves um, able to escape evolution or create um, create diversions. In the end, we all return to evolution, whatever that means to you. What I hope I convey is that it means a return to knowing yourself as part of the whole, knowing that together we are stronger, knowing that we are not alone and we have so much support in the field of consciousness, and the collaboration doesn't just mean, oh, here's my muscle, I'm gonna, plant 1,000 trees and that'll be good. That's amazing. That would be great if you could do that. But beyond that, collaboration is, I am receiving intelligence that tells me what is occurring in the world isn't quite in harmony with all of life, and I have the potential within me to return to that state. And by returning to that true self presence, I am already in collaboration. So it's kind of not one and the other, it's kind of both. It's, it's not the chicken and the egg, it's the totality of the torus that keeps moving within itself. So, okay. Yeah, living and fully living, that feels so important to remember that we are not struggling. We may feel we are struggling. We may feel there is a societal collapse. It's evident, actually. But it doesn't mean that we are not in the spiral of life and we're not in collaboration with life. I am starting to believe that humanity and civilization are different things. Humanity is the divine architect and the one who can make choices and can return to co-create the future now. And civilization is a bit like, um, ugh, yeah, it's in many ways a framework that was built, yeah, to in many ways guide or maybe even divert humans. And civilizations have come and gone. We've all known that. Now, humans and human potential and life will always regenerate. So we have not known a time where humans, well, yes, before very, very many, many years ago, in the formation of Earth, as Earth was still gases and interstellar medium, then human spark was there, but human was not walking because there was no Earth's surface to walk on. But beyond that, we are true nature and we are the true divine. And I hope that this helps you in understanding that we are not separate. And if you are willing to take 3 minutes a day with a tree, truly, truly magic things will happen. So thank you so much, everybody. I don't have a lot of time for questions. So I want to just honor your being here. And at the end of this lecture, I have the details um, for Monica Galliano and Davy Abram, and also Suzanne Simard. Suzanne Simard wrote a book, Finding the Mother Tree. I recommend that. And Monica Galliano wrote a book. She wrote 2 books, I think. One of them is Thus Said the Plant. Whatever inspires you to read. And if you don't read, that's okay too. I'll stop share. And oh, now I see myself as the speaker. That's okay. I feel very delighted to have all of you here, and thank you immensely for taking part in this little lecture. And apologies for having spoken at you, but I didn't know how else to do it. The main points here is we are able to be fully sentient in multidimensionality. We're able to return at any time, no matter what wet fish or banana we fall onto, trip onto in our life experience. We're able to return to our own harmonics. And we can do that through the sentient fields. And the trees are there. The trees are willing. And the trees are teaching us of communication with all of life, with the stars, with the water kingdom, with the animal kingdom, and the cosmos. The trees are telling us about transferring intelligence, so transferring information, receiving information, and sending it out. We can do that too. We can do that with each other. And of course, the stories we tell ourselves, be very aware that we do tell ourselves stories, and we can tell the true story to ourselves. And once from that day of being aware, oh, wait a minute, why am I thinking that thought? Because it's not really real. Then things change. And that's when we are in this constant returning to our harmonic blueprint. And that is creation itself. That is our ability to be in totality with the sentient intelligence that are the trees. And yes, presentience and precognition and future sight and skillshare in an advanced society. All of those things are available to us through the trees. So I hope that this is a little glimpse into the potential of being that nature. So being more than human. We no longer go to nature. We are nature. We are part of. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your messages. I haven't been able to read it. I appreciate all of you immensely, and I appreciate your mastery and your immense wisdom. So go be full yourselves. Much, much love, my dears. Delighted to have had this time with you. Much love. Much love.